Hello, hello. I had some technical difficulties getting things set up today. OBS decided that it wanted to. That's the streaming service platform service. I don't know. The software that we use decided that it needed to update, and then after it did update, all of a sudden, all of the sound on my computer whatsoever was goofing, and so I had to restart my computer, and then the buttons on OBS did not want to work. But finally, we got it going. We're here. We're doing it. We got Rise of Sin Tzu, chapter 13, which is the second to last chapter. We're hopping back in with Sin Tzu himself at 4:53 a.m. Oh boy, that new Batman the Adventures continues, huh? Yeah. I mean, I've been frustrated since last issue. It sucks because I was enjoying this comic pretty much up until last issue when they did what they did with Nora, and now not even just the continuity errors are bugging me on this new one, but it's the whole thing with storytelling is show, don't tell. And rather than figuring out a way to make sense of, Jason having been around and making it work with, things that have been established in the new Batman Adventures, Paul Dini was just like, well, you know what, let's just have Alfred narrate a flashback. It doesn't come across as good writing, in my opinion, which sucks because I love Paul Dini. I don't think I've ever read anything of Paul Dini's that I didn't like, but this one was just oof to me. Hey Maddie, hey Pop Culture Fan 03. Danny says, remember when all you had to worry about was the Lex suit? That seems quaint now, doesn't it? Yeah, right. Did you see my idea for the opening of the next B-Tech video in the DCAU? I did, but that's something that would be up to James to do. I think we already have a pretty funny intro for it. But yeah, this isn't the Batman Adventures Continue comedy hour. It's the DCAU book club, and we've been going over Rise of Sin Tzu. Next week is going to be our last week with this book. We'll all have experienced the entirety of the novelization, and while there's a lot of interesting stuff that happens in it, I can't say for a fact that it's DCAU canon, but honestly, after Batman the Adventures continues, fuck it, everything is, why not? It's all something happened like this. Maybe, I don't know. Does canon even matter anymore? But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's hop on into it. Most of you who have been here before know the drill. I'll read the chapter. I'll stop, during the chapter every couple of pages to put down notes and stuff. Because waiting to do it at the end of the chapter, I tend to forget specifically, and these chapters are kind of long. It takes us about an hour, to get through them, and maybe another 15 minutes for the notes. So it is what it is. I think the writers did not have the continuity in mind when they wrote. That's kind of how it is for almost everything. Right? I mean, you never let continuity get in the way of telling a good story, especially since there's people like us on the internet who try to devise theories to make it all work. But sometimes you just break things. All right, chapter 13, Sin Tzu, 4:53 a.m. Is my mic? We just got a new fan, and I don't know if my mic's picking that up. If it is, I can probably turn the fan off. It's not too terribly hot in here, but if it's not picking it up, then I will keep it on. I don't know if it is. I can hear the fan, but it's not distracting. Okay, tight. Here's what I'll do. I'll turn up I'll turn up the music just a teeny bit. Right? That way. Look at this little guy. He's having fun with his little fishy friends. Alright. Chapter 13, Sin Tzu, 4:53 a.m. I have written, to have complete victory, the commander must defeat both the enemy forces and their commander. To defeat the forces without the commander invites the commander to rise again. To defeat the commander and not his forces leaves way for another to rise and take his place. Throughout the night, I have watched the battles rage. The enemy forces are on the brink of collapse. To deal the death blow, I need only defeat the Batman, for their will to fight will crumble with him. Soon comes the moment when I shall cease to be commander and become warrior. The Dark Knight has vanquished Scarecrow, Clayface, and now Bane. The spiritual power of Metasua has attuned me so closely to the Batman that this last battle came to me as clearly as if I had fought it myself. I felt the crushing blow to Bane. I heard the rush of breath into his powerful lungs and the beating of his heart. I tasted the blood on his teeth. I smelled the sour acrid smell of Bane's fear and the Batman's triumph. Most of all, I saw the bat filling my vision, growing darker and darker until all light was gone. I have not seen such darkness since the Yanjin first overtook me. After defeating Bane, the Batman stood victorious for a moment, catching his breath. He was not savoring his conquest. No, I know that he never reflects to gloat, merely turns his thoughts to what lies ahead. Curiously enough, I felt myself doing the same thing. But unlike the Batman, I felt the thrill of victory, for I have finally found an opponent worthy of my skills. The haunting hollowness of my previous conquests is gone. As I watched his demonic visage, I felt a tingle run through my body that I had not felt in years. I revel in the reaction. My failed captain, Scarecrow, would recognize it for the galvanizing force it is. Fear. For at last, and for the first time in this mortal life, I am evenly matched. What was the Batman thinking? Did he anticipate our meeting as eagerly as I? I rejected any attempt to read his mind. Any insight at this stage would be a useless illusion, pointless. And with the battle joined, I knew that I should probably refrain from communicating with him again. The potential existed for him to learn more from me than I from him. But the desire proved overwhelming. And besides, I am far too cunning to be manipulated so easily. Mere moments after the battle, I hailed the Batman and taught him the secret of my location, which I was sure he did not know. But he did. "I'm coming for you," he snarled. For a moment, I was stunned, off balance. The Yanjin swelled like a held breath. The voices hissed. Their disapproval formed a barrier around my thoughts. But again, I held firm. This was my battle. I would triumph. I clawed my way through the thick complexities of the Metasua to once again seize the initiative back into conscious thought. Perhaps he was bluffing. My voice returned to me. "Ah, but you have no idea where I am," I told him. He came right back. "You're hiding in the last place I would expect, and yet the best fortress in Gotham City, Arkham Asylum." My turn to bluff, to hide my astonished awe. "I commend you again." "You can either stand or run," he said. "Your call." I felt myself swell. "Sin Tzu runs from no man." His face was hard. It was as if he were staring directly at me, directly into my soul, as I had been staring so long into his. He shut off the communicator, and the line went dead. "Let him come. I am ready." The technological trinket in my hand is worthless now. I have lost contact with my opponent, but it matters not. Even without Metasua, I have other ways to track his location, other modern technical tools. Now I set them into action. I mean, to know where is the Batman's command center, his lair. but the readings I receive are outlandish. Obviously, the Batman has set up numerous jamming devices in his Batcave in anticipation of being followed. I do not know where he is or where his cave is. He has vanished into the darkness. He could emerge from it at any time. He could come from any direction. Let me flip that page, and I'm seeing there's some chats. What are you guys saying in the chat? Continuity is like the third or fourth most important factor in storytelling. Good storytelling and characterization always comes first. And while it really should be easy to do that without breaking continuity, the DCAU in particular only really emphasized strong continuity right at the end of its run. It's a small miracle that the Data Boys were able to make it all work before the Adventures Continue came out to begin with. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I've always been surprised that, like, with the amount of people who have been like, no, tie-in stuff isn't just no. That most of the time it does work. You can make it work. It helps strengthen, like, the depth of the lore. But yeah, it's not something that I ever expected to be able to make work as well as we have. That's a good Batman voice. Thank you, Brian Cage. I have been practicing it over the last 13 weeks. Not actually practicing, but, kind of just stumbling through it live on the stream here. I understand not wanting to let continuity distract, but I don't see how getting basic dates and numbers consistent can undermine it. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I understand not wanting to let continuity distract, but I don't see how getting basic dates and numbers consistent can undermine it. So, I know a couple of, like, the creatives that we've talked to in the past have talked about, like, how hard it was to not even get, like, extra information about the shows, like, while they were writing tie-in comics, but, like, also, like, how hard it was to, like, get a hold of the shows themselves at the time, right? Because the internet wasn't quite what it is today. Pirating was a lot more difficult to do. A lot of it happened, like, by copying VHS tapes and then selling those VHS tapes over eBay. But, like, to sell them over eBay, like, you would have to say that it was a blank tape or for recording use only, and, like, you couldn't really say, like, what was in it because of copyright law and yada 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 yada. So, like, folks would kind of just go off of their memory of the episodes, and, like, if they were lucky, they would have, like, a writer's Bible that the shows didn't ever necessarily 100% conform to. So I understand, like, the past stuff, like, how difficult it is to, like, keep stuff correct. And then, like, the new stuff, keeping correct, I feel like it's more or less just an issue of, like, do we have time to really take into consideration all of these things to hit our deadlines for stories, kind of like say Justice League versus the Fatal Five, how, like, they used different like, new character models for some Legion members that, like, we already had in, like, Justice League Unlimited. So, like, I get some of it, but, like, there comes a point where it just seems like you're saying, screw the old stuff, this is what matters. I'm mostly thinking about stuff coming out right now, like B-Tech, which has hindsight. Yeah, no, definitely. Like, it seems with this that Dini just had a story he wanted to tell, and he said everything else be damned. And while parts of the story has been fun, like, the past couple things have been meh. It's also important to remember that we as nerdy fans are always going to obsess over tiny details more than the original creators are ever going to. Even the most continuity obsessed shows will make minor mistakes. Yeah. Also, apparently, I can only type in thick paragraphs today. Anyway, back to the book. I am intrigued. The feelings of doubt and anticipation add spice to the conflict. I wonder if I should expend more energy tracking him or simply prepare for his inevitable arrival. But the spirit voices within me are silent. Perhaps they have not come to a harmonious answer, and so to preserve harmony, they say nothing. Perhaps they are testing my knowledge, or perhaps they agree that this battle I have claimed is indeed to be mine alone. I care not. I am ready to defeat the Dark Knight without their assistance, and then together the spirits of war and I will rejoice. Leaving my post on the roof, I march down into the bowels of Arkham Asylum and return to that place where I have chosen to battle the Batman. It is the most defensible location in Arkham, a foul place where the psychic signature of terror still vibrates in the walls from long ago. Torture in the name of science, perhaps, or misguided compassion, or a little of each. The energy here is violent and unsettled, echoing still with tragedy and deceit. It lingers like a wound scarred over, visible but no longer announcing a specific hurt. I find it particularly apt that this energy will flavor my final conflict with the Batman. Physically, too, it possesses all of the elements of an arena destined for a titanic struggle. A large, open space with no windows and only one door leading to the outside. Its many other doors lead to unused cells. There, I shall place my eternal elite and my private corps of human ninjas in case of the need for unexpected retreat. I sink to the cool cement floor, center myself, and descend into the familiar deep womb of meditation. In my mind, I return to the beloved caves of my youth, following sheer walls of limestone back past half-buried pools of obsidian water, deep into the skyless cavern of the tomb. There I sit at the carved plaques, shrines to my bodiless teachers, the assembled pantheon of the past Sin Tzu, regulating my breath. Amid the soft, endless circle, the rise and fall, the in and out, eternal rhythm, I go back to the beginning and retrace my battle plan. It has worked flawlessly thus far, and grows sweeter still. I can now feel the bat inside me, his claws tightening around my soul. The nature of the battle has changed. When I began this campaign, it was to find a challenge worthy of my skills. In this task, I have succeeded. My goal then was to defeat the Batman. Now I yearn to destroy him. It is a subtle difference, but one that I acknowledge with relish. Without opening my eyes or releasing my other senses, I know that one of my eternal elite approaches, carrying word from the world of Arkham that I have left behind. I smile in anticipation, for my guard knows that I am not to be disturbed unless the Batman has been discovered. The Dark Knight is near. In my mind, I leave the cave. I open my eyes. As I re-emerge into the physical world, I feel the Yan Jin inside of me slosh and swill like ocean water forced into an eddy. Its power pulses within me like the great heart of the cosmos, subjugating to my will. I lost my place for a second. Where was I? Subjugating to my will. I close my eyes again and focus it, drawing it into a long tsunami, ready to break. I will no longer use it gently, for telepathy or detection. I will save every drop of it for combat. With it, I will drown my foe. I open my eyes again, and turn to see the stone face of my guard. He too yearns for this combat. Anticipation radiates through his iron discipline. He is pointing to the video feed, routed to my inner layer from the security cameras that ring the asylum. Commissioner Gordon is on the security video. He stands before Arkham, surrounded by men in black with large weapons. Police cars flank him in rows, their lights suppressed. He does not appear aware of the blacker-than-black, flitting shadow approaching him, and it is certainly undetected by his men. I, however, do not take my eyes from it. One of Gordon's men is speaking. "We can storm it!" he begins. Gordon shakes his head, a tight frown beneath his mustache. Arkham is impregnable. It was built not only to keep supervillains in, but also to keep their henchmen at bay. I'm pretty sure that, like, at some point in this book, like, we got a little bit of like, backstory into, like, the Arkham family, like, Amadeus Arkham and all that. I don't remember specifically, but I feel like that was something that was brought up, as if, like, Arkham's been around for, like, decades, maybe hundreds of years. And so Gordon's saying that it was built to keep supervillains in, but also to keep their henchmen at bay, seems to imply that, like, Gotham's had supervillains for forever, even before Batman. Maybe this is the renovated one. I mean, I would only suggest that if everything else in it worked, as far as the timeline goes. But either way, even that's kind of like a disgusting way to refer to, like, what's supposed to be a medical facility for people who, like, are mentally unstable, right? Like, it was built as a prison for supervillains, not it was built as a place to rehabilitate. Oh, but I digress. It's the original in the video game. Okay, yeah, so there's that too. But yeah, the mental thing. Let's see. Gordon shakes his head, a tight frown. Arkham is impregnable. Also keep their henchmen at bay. The Shadow speaks. Just make sure nobody gets out. Gordon and his men... Oh, what'd Danny say? You know what this story reminds me of? Fan fiction. Very good fan fiction, mind you, but still fan fiction, especially with the frequent insertion of comic history beats that were never part of DCAU canon. Yeah, I could see that. Or how thirsty it gets for Nightwing. Just make sure nobody gets out. Gordon and his men spin around. The men have the Batman at gunpoint. For just a second, one of them almost fires. His finger stops at the trigger. The commissioner is already motioning for them to lower their weapons. I'm going in. Don't follow me. Where were we? Oh, okay. So you guys heard me talking about how Batman's aware of the Anjin alchemy? Yeah, maybe. If not, I just told you. Gordon continues. How touching. I think that he is able... how touching, I think, that he is able to get this off his chest before his friend is lost to him forever. Well, I don't know much... I'm not even doing the same Gordon voice. Chat scroll is frozen. Oh, on my... Yeah, huh. I don't know how to fix that. Well, I don't know how much his psychiatrist really understood. Yanjin is an ancient mental art. Its practitioners are able to turn mental energy into physical energy to heighten their own abilities and dominate the minds of others. That must be how he controlled Scarecrow and Clayface. And Bane, and the prisoners at Stonegate. It extends much farther than you suspect, little man. There is something close to mirth in the Batman's voice. Not much of a trick, since he commanded them to fight me, which is what they wanted to do anyway. Gordon continues. He takes his instructions from spiritual advisors he hears in his head. So does every schizophrenic in Arkham, replies Batman. Just be careful, Batman. He might try to use the Yanjin on you. It only works on the weak and the impressionable, the Batman states flatly. I am neither. And then he turns his communicator off. I scoff at his lack of comprehension. Does he think this is some paltry parlor trick? Entire countries have gone down on their knees before me. How like the hubris in all heroes to mock what he does not understand. Perhaps I will kill him slowly enough to allow him the opportunity for enlightenment, seconds before his physical and spiritual death. Or perhaps I shall simply wipe him out, denying his essence even the small pleasure of entering the universe to be fuel for my future conquest. For the game is very simple now. Even without the Yan-Jin surging within me, I know what the Batman is seeing as he enters the tunnel to my lair. For I have arranged it as neatly as any campaign. It is dark. It is absolutely silent. The Batman peers down the length of the corridor where Gotham's most deranged criminals are housed. He moves as one expecting to be attacked at any moment. The shadows and light of the cell doors and the walls put him in mind of a surreal chessboard, a suitable meditation before this final deadly game. I let his tension build. He looks in the first cell, finds the plant woman, Poison Ivy, standing there in a characteristic pose, frozen. My supposedly imaginary Yan-Jin has lost none of its power, keeping her in eternal stillness. The sweet but morbid smell of her gardenias touches his nose. Is there a touch of the scent of roses? For I feel that the scent of roses reminds him of something terrible. His formative event, the postulated murder I suspected so long ago. The energy I hold allows me to feel the subtle shift in his emotions. He is haunted, weak. I speak to him through the asylum intercom. Impressive trophy collection, is it not? The Batman takes a fighting stance, awaiting attack. None comes. He considers my question. More precisely, he considers his answer. Tonight, I'll add one more, he says. A good answer. He remains on the offensive. I laugh. I feel like a racehorse held behind the starting gate. Come closer, Batman. Closer. It occurs to me that I have not laughed since I watched that last thuggy destroy himself in a fit of greed and fear. That was when I first felt the strength of what I could do. In all the months of hearing the inane cackle of the laughing man they called the Joker, perhaps some of his energy permeated through my cells. I am enjoying this. The urge to fight only strengthens. The Batman walks slowly, cautiously, past the next several cells. He finds the Laughing Man and the Harlequin girl. They too are frozen, still held by the power of Yan-Jin. He flinches. I can almost feel the goosebumps crawl up his flesh. He knows not whether they are alive or dead. I know that he has never seen anything like this before, and it has its calculated effect. He knows precisely how difficult these costumed obsessives are to best. In this case, the enemy of his enemy is not his friend. By defeating them, I have just proven myself to be an even more dangerous foe. The Batman is not sure how to react. I have skillfully regained the initiative. What happened to them? He asks. His voice sounds strangely naive, and yet also matter-of-fact. Yes, very American. Control the mind, and the body soon follows, I say. The Batman passes the empty cells of my captains. Why did you choose the ones you did? Why did you pick Scarecrow, Clayface, and Bane? A good parry. His question surprises me. It shouldn't, because after all, he is a detective. In moments of doubt, all men rush to those familiar things they know. They flee to the familiar. Okay, so, I think we got a couple notes there. Harley and Joker may have been mentioned early in the book, like during the first chapter when we were inside of Arkham in the first place, but I don't think Poison Ivy was. I'm going to put all three into my notes just in case. Oh, wait, no, wait, oh, there we go. The prologue has Poison Ivy. It has the Joker. It has Harley Quinn. Okay, well then I don't need to put any of them in my notes. Sin Tzu does mention like being in close proximity to Joker for months, which I don't think that's anything new. But I'm gonna put it anyway just in case. Actually, I still need to put that as 4:53 a.m. So let me put that there. Let me put that here. So that's the notes so far. This book / game takes place during the new Batman adventures, right? Yeah. I think it's from the novelization. It seems that we're about a year after Robin becomes Timm, or Timm becomes Robin. That's the right way to say those words. So, like in Batman: The Adventures Continues time, I guess. But I don't think that the game is as explicit about it. So, you know, if the book doesn't hold up, then like we can always just sort the game to be somewhere else. Is the book saying these villains are weak-willed? I mean, well, Tron, have you seen any of them wear a Green Lantern ring? It's weird to me that Sin Tzu wouldn't at least try to make Ivy one of his lieutenants. She's only really rivaled by Clayface in terms of how potentially dangerous she could be. Yeah. I feel like she'd probably be a little bit more dangerous than Clayface. Maybe it's an ego thing where he wouldn't want help from another of Batman's enemies. Wait, he's got help from the Joker. He's got help throughout the book from Bane, Clayface, and Scarecrow. So, like, I don't know why Poison Ivy would be off the table. Nothing works in relation to Batman: The Adventures, right? It's a struggle. Did I... Oh, hold on. I need to flip the page on the... Let's see. We got a good parry. His question surprised me. Yada, 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 yada. Load it. Okay, there we go. I consider telling him my reasons. I am bursting to share them with one who would understand them, but I steel myself. To know and to keep silent is power. Many battles have been stolen from the jaws of victory by aimless banter. Besides, there are great mysteries facing him. He should be worrying about the Yan Jin, where it comes from, how he might stop it, and how much it will hurt when its full force is unleashed upon him. But I allow him the courtesy of a reply. Let us just say that they were less unpredictable than the others. Good answer, but it isn't true. You had other, more complex reasons, didn't you? You never intended for them to defeat me. They were a series of diversions, intended to control me while you took the city. Indeed, and they worked. You took your eyes from the battlefield, a fatal error for a commander. Correct, just as you are doing now. Fool! It is true that I no longer watch the city, and I suppose his captains could be regaining control of Gotham as we speak. It would be easy enough to maintain a visual on the battlefield and confront my enemy directly at the same time if I relied on the same sort of faulty tools and technology he uses. It is true, too, that the Batman has maneuvered himself to now block my path back to command. But I need spare no thought for what happens outside. I have mustered all my energies for the duel that is rapidly approaching. The Batman would be wise to do so as well. He will understand soon enough. I consider unleashing my guards to destroy him, but that would be predictable. What he wants, and I will not give him what he wants. The Batman steps towards my cell, which is still shrouded in darkness, but it is empty. You did not expect to find me in there, did you? I taunt over the intercom. I expect only the unexpected. The Batman turns to see a boarded-up doorway on the far wall. I watch as he investigates it. He knows that the boards have been recently hammered in. He knows that he will find me behind them. An emotion that is as surprising as it is deft and accurate. He kicks them down. It is perhaps the most artful display of force I have ever seen without the use of mental channel. So, earlier, we had, like, people bring a dude off the streets to Sin Tzu, and that's how he got the communicator. And so, like, that means, like, sometime between then and right now, Sin Tzu got behind this doorway and told somebody, hey, the Batman's gonna, sometime tonight, he's gonna be here. And you should hammer up some plywood in front of the doorway for some reason, because that's gonna stop him. He'll never find me if you do that. I don't get why. Like, he's already inside of, like, this place that we were told was built to keep people out. Which, like, I also don't understand, like, how Batman's able to get in, but GCPD can't. Like, what is there like some kind of weird lock on the doors that, like, Batman has to, like, crawl in through an air vent? Like, why can't the henchmen do that? Why is Batman the only one able to, like, break in? If there is some kind of weird lock on the doors to keep henchmen out, like, you would think that, like, GCPD would have, like, some kind of key fob to just let them in, some kind of, like, access card. So I don't get what's going on here, like, the more that I think about it. But, you know, Clayface could flood the city with his powers, while Ivy could crush it with her plants. I think they're roughly equal, though I'd imagine Ivy winning in a direct fight between them slightly more often than Clayface would. I don't know, man. I've never seen Clayface, like, grow to the size of being able to, like, flood the whole city. Maybe that's something that's happened in the comics, but, like, I don't think there's anything in DCAU lore to really back that ability up. Truly, his genius is frightening. His goons probably. They were really thick flanks, right? Let's see. An emotion that is as surprising as it is deft and accurate. He kicks them down. It is perhaps the most artful display of force I have seen. Okay, we read that part. He stands before me, proud, indomitable, dark, larger and more graceful than I had anticipated. The moment has arrived. I am stuck with the sense of destiny. Thus it ends, as all battles should end. Two great commanders facing each other on an empty battlefield. His response is terse. Let's finish it. Oh yes, Batman, indeed we will. I smile as I unleash my human attackers, my black-clad ninja warriors, trained in the martial arts of Shulan. 14 of them immediately surround the Batman, who takes out two with a swift fling of a sharp, gleaming batarang before the circle has even closed. He tries to keep his initiative with a high-speed sidekick aimed at the head of one of the remaining 12 ninjas, but the ninja blocks, crossing 9-inch metallic claws over his face defensively, like two multi-pronged sai. 4 ninja flip over the shoulders of their teammates, flying into striking range as they all unleash their sai claws simultaneously. The Batman drops low, executing a flawless sweeping hook kick that takes down 3 of the 4. The 4th has time to see it coming and leaps straight up in the air in the air as the Batman's leg passes beneath him. With a movement as fluid as silk, the Batman follows through on the arc, and then seems to disappear under his billowing cape. He reappears suddenly, standing precisely behind the fourth ninja, the moment his soft, tabby boots touch the cement floor. With a gesture too fast for my eyes to follow, the Batman renders this ninja unconscious, hurling his inert body at four more who approach. What are tabby boots? What is a tabby boot? I'm curious. Was that 2 B's or was that 1 B? Tabby boots, 1 B. Tabby shoes. Okay, so they're ninja boots? Oh my god, are they like foot gloves? Like your big toe is like separated from the rest of your toes? Why? Why? Is this... Why? He reappears suddenly, standing precisely behind the fourth ninja the moment his soft, tabby boots touch the cement floor. So Batman is wearing boots like this? Why? What does he mean, throw his inert body? If he's being thrown, he's not inert. Yeah, well, you know, I just don't think he was moving before. You've never seen these? Pretty sure Coyote Ken wears these. I mean, I may have seen them before, but I did not know what they were called. And yeah, Batman is the one wearing them. Unless I'm completely misinterpreting this sentence that just overuses pronouns. He reappears suddenly, standing precisely behind the fourth ninja, the moment his soft, tabby boots touch the cement floor. Is it the moment that the ninja's soft, tabby boots touch the cement floor? Or is it Batman's soft, tabby boots touch the cement floor behind the fourth ninja? Right? Like, the moment that he reappears suddenly. I don't know. I'm not gonna stress it. The three knocked over by the sweep kick halt in the act of rising to somersault out of the Batman's way, each making a rolling retreat in a different direction as the Batman slides towards them. There's a blur of movement, and then the Batman's boot is crushing the throat of one of the tumbling ninjas as his gloved hands knocked two hooded heads together. Dude, Batman, get your feet off his throat. Like, what in the fuck, man? You can kill somebody that way. It says Batman lands, right? So I'd assume it means Batman, right? Like, that's what I was thinking, but I don't know. After that, only 2 of the 14 managed to get close enough to him to strike, one tearing the very edge of his cape with his claws, while another breaks into an offensive ring of 6. His kamikaze attack is meant to deliberately exchange his consciousness for the chance to rake the claws of his right hand across the Batman's briefly exposed left arm. For his sacrifice, he manages to tear the Batman's armor and draw a slight trickle of blood. His shriek of pain as the Batman retaliates, however, makes it clear that mere seconds after completing the move, the ninja has paid the price for his cunning. I also like how, like, Sin Tzu's just been like, yeah, baby, 1-on-1 versus Batman, woo, we're gonna do it. Hey, Batman's here, you 14 ninjas, hop out. Batman better get his foot off him, right? Right? The rest take less than a minute. The Batman dispatches them swiftly, concentrating fully, but not yet breathing hard. But a moment is all I need. I chant to summon my chi. I feel the swiftness of the power filling me, the effortless connection of my consciousness to its depth. It takes a second or two at most. I expect the Batman to attack, but he does not. He must know that I am at my most dangerous defensively when I chant. He watches as I absorb the light, as electricity jumps from my sockets, and I turn the Metasua inward, becoming a black hole. My power grows. The end is near. The end for Batman. He is fascinated. He studies me like a scientific experiment. The gold skin, the symbol. I understand it now. You're a human dynamo. You suck in energy, harness it, and then dispense it tenfold. Were you less mired in megalomania and capable of compassion, you could be a great light in this world. From the great distance of my power, I respond. I absorb the light. Fine, he says. I am a creature of the darkness. I focus all of my energy and then fire on him. The room flashes intense white with the soundless roar of pure power and then goes pitch dark. There is nothing. Silence. Have I destroyed my enemy with the first blow? Different emotions, unfamiliar, course through me. Disappointment, relief, a slight sadness. I have not known these since my days before the cave. I had hoped for a greater finale, but then I resign myself and accept the more recognizable glow of victory, an emotion that does not tarnish, no matter how familiar it becomes. I listen for the humming approval of the spirit voices, and hear nothing. I have destroyed the most fascinating most worthy opponent I have ever faced for them, and still they scorn me? I am thinking of how best to rouse them when, from the darkness, comes a sudden flash, a jolt of pain, and then blackness once again. I feel myself hurtling through the air. Batman is compassionate. He just said it, right? The electrical light from above flickers, and I turn to see the Batman's controlled spin as he follows through on his uppercut. Then, in a graceful move more like that of a dancer than a fighter, he comes back to his center of balance and turns to face me. Rage courses through my blood as I stumble across the room like rubbish in the wind and crash, shoulder first, into a stone wall. He has dared to touch me? I, Sin Tzu? I force down my fury. Surely I had expected no less. I shrug off the pain as he steps toward me. Again, I summon the Yanjin. Words flow through my mouth like churning water as the Yanjin courses through me. For me, the battle is already won. Your armies are defeated. But no matter what happens, my armies fight on. I taunt, circling. The Batman smiles cryptically. Wasn't it you who wrote that if the head is cut off, the body soon dies? Do not mock me with my own words, I hiss. He sees it coming. Yanjin, once summoned, cannot be stemmed, merely dispersed. I shoot another bolt of pure, enraged energy at him. This time, I use the whip pattern, designing it to strike not where the Batman is standing, but where he will jump. The whip bolt snaps to the side of the Batman, just missing him as he doubles back on his evade. With building fury, I watch it snake into one of the cells where my eternal elite wait. A member of my guard bursts into flames. A negative energy emerges from the flaming corpse. Now the spirit voices of the Yanjin rise around me, shrieking, battering, displeased. Dissonance fills my head. The voice that is mine and not mine is fragmented. I struggle to suppress it, and yet cannot help but hear individual voices breaking from the flow of chants. Kings long dead and conquerors of ancient history, vanquishers of the ages, all screaming different instructions. Opposite instructions. Some call for me to attack. Some order me to retreat and regroup. Some insist that the enemy must be probed further. For the first time, I feel a separation from my spirit voices. We no longer act as one. Their cacophony fills my head. I force them to order. I still their shrieking cries. This single miscalculation has not lost us the battle. Only one deliberate hit will destroy our enemy. A single hit I am certain to achieve if I could but concentrate. I do my best to ignore the discord in my head, focusing on the struggle at hand. I do not have time for the foolish arguing of long-dead kings. I must focus on the duel before me, on my mysteriously powerful rival. Did Batman just get a henchman exploded? Seems to... So the Eternal Elite are like an undead army that the spirits have provided Sin Tzu. So like... Sure, he got him exploded, but he's already dead. Ugh. Right? And that's why, like, I guess the spirits are freaking out right now. Because they got another one of their limited army dead. Let's see. For the first time I feel separation. Blah, 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 blah. I do my best to ignore the discord in my head, focusing... Okay, I read that one. Because I wanted to make a Discord joke. But as I focus, his image presents me with only negative information. Information of what is not. The Batman is not hit. The Batman is not standing where he was when I fired the bolt of energy. The Batman is nowhere to be seen. The Batman has slipped within the darkness. The Batman is the darkness itself. I summon the Yanjin flame in order to find him. The energy builds, spins, flares, and illuminates. Nothing. I turn around, directly into a striking fist. Again, I tumble through the darkness. On my back, on the ground, I draw the Yanjin from the very walls, from the earth beneath the floor, from a sky I cannot see. Its power grows weaker. If I had begun with the force of 100, I now have the force of perhaps 60. But it is enough. The great tide of Yanjin within me still swells for battle. I take a great risk and target 3 blasts. One to where the Batman is, one to where the Batman leapt after my first attack, and one to where the Batman might leap should he evade in the opposite direction. 3 bolts of pure Yanjin lightning streak away from my glowing palms. The energy of these bolts, once released, turns the room pure black. The light is swallowed. All energy is sucked from the room. For a moment, there is only silence, vacuum. The voices that are mine and not mine whisper to each other, still discordant. Then I hear him. His breathing is irregular, suppressing a moan of pain. I hear his footsteps. He is staggering. My spirits soar. The voices hum with speculation. In the darkness, a lock turns. Wounded, he is trying to retreat, to escape. I fire a bolt at where I know the door to the cell to be. As my reward, I hear another grunt of pain, and then the sound of halting breaths fill the darkness. There, my spirits, do you see? My enemy is badly injured. His powers dissipate, leaking out with his strength. This battle will be a war of attrition. Who will regain their strength first? My powers rise, gathering in the expanding emptiness within my soul. For I have written, in an unknown environment, blind aggression will lead to success 3 times for each time it leads to failure. Spurred on by this very real gap in my enemy's defenses, I endeavor to summon the Yanjin once more. To my great frustration, the energy flickers feebly. I must wait for it to build. But it is not my only weapon. My body, too, is a tool of destruction. Targeting the Batman's breaths, I spin around, kicking, chopping, and punching in the darkness. I connect only with empty, dead air. The Batman, even wounded, is swift. The challenge is not yet won, but I am confident I will smite my enemy with the next volley of attacks. Slowly, as if seeping sheepishly in through the walls, light slinks back into the chamber. I behold the Batman crouching against the dank stone floor. He is breathing heavily. His cape is charred, and I can see red, burned flesh on his chest and upper arm. With an intoxicating rush of adrenaline, I prepare to finish him. I can offer him no quarter, no terms for surrender. This man who moves amid the darkness the way I channel the forces of light, this commander who calls upon warm, living soldiers the way I summon cold, dead ones, he must be destroyed. Movement catches my eye from another corner of the room, and I turn to see my 5 remaining Eternal Elite standing in their cells, watching. My heart leaps. I will force them to defend me while I conserve the last of my Yanjin and build yet more energy, enough to make my final blow a truly punishing strike that will obliterate the Batman once and for all. I order them to seize the Batman with silent mental commands in the voice that is mine and not mine, but they do not respond. For the first time since the caves, I feel the emptiness. They do not hear me. I am alone. It is an old feeling from childhood, from the time before the cave, when I was alone and merely tolerated by the cult, unloved, without nurturing, abandoned. I refuse to acknowledge it. It is an after effect of the energy I have spent. My powers are merely ebbing from me at a greater rate than I have calculated. The battle is not yet lost. So it sounds like the spirits told him to kind of fuck off. Turn that motherfucking page. Oh. Alright. For the Batman's powers are waning as well. He crawls like a broken, damaged creature into the darkness. I can still track him by the sound of his ragged breath. I volley, but he is still strong. His returning blows cripple me further, much as I would like to crush him with my body alone. I know what tactics dictate. I must end this or face defeat. I summon the Yanjin, gathering its weakening force within me. I speak aloud. Bring the intruder to me! But still the Eternal Elite do not respond. They stare back at me blankly with faces as immobile as stone. The Bat is defeated. Claim our victory. Make him bow down to me and surrender, I shout. A voice startles me, shooting out from the darkness with calm precision. His voice, the Batman's voice. You have risked... You have risked control of your own army for vanity, Sin Tzu, he says. His voice is low and grim and unfaltering. Move! I shout again to the lifeless stone guards. Perhaps your spirit guides feel you have lost focus in this battle. I ignore him, trying silent mental commands on my Eternal Elite once again, but still there is nothing, no movement, no response. I feel the voices stir petulantly within the recesses of my mind. Now there is no longer cacophony. They sulk. They refuse to speak. This is betrayal. Has the Yanjin forsaken me? This is neither the time nor the place for such pettiness. The enemy is in my sights, just waiting to be finished off. How dare the Yanjin toy with me now? I reach into the depth of my being and summon the last of my power with a mighty roar. Trembling with rage, I target all 5 of the silent stone golems to defy their general is death. I will finish this myself. Yanjin lightning flashes around me in a pentagram form. Each shot strikes one of the guards and ricochets off to strike the next and the next. My guards are blasted apart in a dust storm of destruction. The room thunders with my rage and then their anguish. Big Mac TS, I'm gonna send you a pic on Discord of me watching your stream in my Tesla. Damn, that sounds cool. Stream it on your smart fridge for a real flex. It just keeps telling me how fat I am. Jesus. I wish I could afford a Tesla. Not that I would buy a Tesla. I'm fine with my Prius. Tesla money would be dope. Or a smart fridge, yeah. And then there is a thunder more deafening than any I have ever heard before. I fall to my knees and press my hands against my ears as the spirit voices rage, screaming and howling and screeching in 1,000 discordant tongues. Whoa, what was that sound? Big Mac TS subscribed with Twitch Prime. Hey! That's dope. Thanks for the support, Big Mac. Where was I? That sound just caught me off guard. The noise is like a physical force, abusive, brutalizing. But then all at once, it is dark and painfully silent. I am covered in ash and despair. I cough. From the moment I entered the cave at Shulan, I have radiated with power. But now I am depleted of all Yanjin. Metasua is closed to me. The voices have deserted my head. The spirits of the ancient Sin Tzu have returned to the tomb to protect themselves. I am empty. As the light sneaks back into the room, I see the Batman's face. He grabs me roughly and lifts me off the ground. I notice that the heavily muscled arm that grips me is still smoldering from my lightning, though nothing on his countenance betrays his pain. He holds me face to face. I try to summon my strength, but it is like trying to grasp water in my fist. The Yanjin leaks from me wetly, without force. I feel the spirits leaving me, a mass desertion, an exodus. My weakness enrages me. Somehow, the Batman is doing this. The demon has driven the spirits from me. It's interesting that, like, the spirits are leaving him. I don't know if that happens, like, in the game itself. But, like, there's a sequel to this, right? So, like, one would assume that he still has access to whatever spirits in that, unless the spirits just aren't part of the game at all, and he's just a really good war general. Indeed, the abandoning spirits whisper of enmity. They hiss about obsession. In a panic, I reach out for them and feel their cold condemnation as they continue their desertion. Why? Why? I search my energy for impurities and am shocked by the sudden density of my own internal space. The spirits are not just leaving of their own accord. They are being crowded out, forced from my soul by a rising tide of sentiment. Fury, envy, hate, revenge, fear, awe, covetousness, suspicion. When did my soul begin to fill with such contaminants? These are human weaknesses. Is this what the spirits tried to warn me of when they filled my mind with memories of my past earlier this evening? Did they sense that I had begun to take the extraordinary powers they have bequeathed upon me for granted? Or even that, at some level, I wished to desert them myself, reaching out to this dark mirror nemesis with the attention and will they felt rightfully theirs? Booyah, yeah, if any of you have Amazon Prime, you can sub to the boys for free. There you go. That's a tip. Little tip. Amazon Prime members, you can sub to us for free. He's got his Tesla in the shower with him. Who doesn't bathe with their car? For the first time in my life, I regale the spirits with my need. Let me defeat the Batman, and I will once again prove to be your loyal servant. I have always done what you bid, always thought of nothing but war. I have abandoned the war for a petty rivalry, and so the spirits of war desert me. The Batman speaks, his harsh and forceful voice stabbing at me. You made... Reading so much, like, just kind of gets my throat dry. You made the worst mistake a general can make, he says darkly. You misjudged your enemy. My motives were nothing like yours. My heart constricts and then expands. Compassion. I thought it was a weakness. I was wrong. It is his strength. Language finally comes to me. It is my own, weak and hollow, echoing of false bravado. Although I mean every word. Savor sweet victory now, for there will be another day. As I slip into unconsciousness, he speaks again. Don't count on it. I fall further and further into oblivion, back into the dream of the terrible things that happened once in this room. A man, a woman, a fight, blood. Then the spirits take me to a worse place yet. I see a young boy. It is night. He is with 2 adults, his parents. The world is in perfect balance. A loving family. They talk about a movie they have seen that night. They laugh. A man emerges from the darkness. I feel a chill. The man demands money. The father's internal energy shifts. He comes to a place of resistance. He moves to stop the attacker. A gun goes off twice. The mother falls, a broken strand of pearls raining down beside her. The father falls first to his knees, and then all the way forward. The boy stands utterly still, a look of shocked incredulity stamped across his face. The man with the gun could kill the boy, but something stops him. Maybe it is a darkness that comes before his eyes. Maybe it is the Yan Zhen, or the reverse of the Yan Zhen, that blinds him. Maybe he doesn't see the boy. Maybe his hand will not squeeze the trigger. Maybe spirit voices scream in his ears and make him run. Something happens. Something that is hidden in the darkness behind a cowl. He flees, leaving the boy alone. The boy stands wordlessly over the corpses of his parents, peering upwards into the night and into the endless darkness. I am a stranger to human sensitivity. The spirits taunt me with my own emotions, still insubstantial and hazy to me. These are a secret ammunition, a source of power I do not comprehend. They are also a liability, waiting in the dark of the mind to be tripped over or fallen into like quicksand. The Batman can read them in himself and in others. My fuming heart betrayed me to him in a tongue I do not know. The thick tangle of voices in my head falls silent. Darkness claims me. And that is the end of chapter 13. I guess I don't think we've had Thomas and Martha Wayne explicitly mentioned in the book yet. So that's a thing. I mean, like, we had Batman go to Crime Alley, but like now we've got them. And I guess our Joe Chill, or if you go by the one and only gun script, Jack Napier. So there we go. Those are added in now. And that concludes chapter 13. I feel like so far I've been enjoying the book, right? Like there's some stuff that make me scratch my head. Not just like the continuity stuff, but like the weird like hammering in the planks sometime over the night, or like the weird stuff with like Nightwing's age not keeping consistent in the book because of like Gordon's career trajectory, or like Scarecrow's urethra, or the guy who really needed to shit himself. But like there's been, I think, more good than bad so far. I can't say that I'm a huge fan of these high action chapters where it's just like describing a fight beat for beat, because like there's a lot less, character building and shit in it. But obviously, like, they gotta happen in a Batman book, so it is what it is. I do like, Origin Time. I do like that they pushed the shooting of the Waynes like all the way to the end of the book, rather than like doing it at the start, like most Batman movies do. Now this, I wish I could see animated for sure. Like I would love, like so many people are always like, why don't they animate the stories from the tie-in stuff? And like, honestly, I think the only ones that I've like wanted to see animated are like specifically the Mr. Freeze stuff, and then like this has been a really fucking cool book. Having had it done as a movie would have been awesome. I think that would have also like helped like Sin Tzu become a more celebrated character, right? Because like it's bizarre that like, you know, they went to make this game, they got Jim Lee to come in and do art for him. There was a whole like marketing push on this. Like you had the tie-in novel, you had the tie-in sequel comics. There were like four, maybe five different collector's editions of this. One with, I want to say there was one with an action figure for each member of the Bat family. I have the Batgirl one on PS2. But then there was also one that like came with a lithograph, and so like, and this was a huge multi-plat as well. Like they even ported it to Game Boy Advance, and I guess it just ended up flopping. And that Sin Tzu has only really ever showed up like maybe once since then. Yeah, here's the lithograph, like with, it's drawn by Jim Lee. Like just really, really nice. And like here it's like there's the Batman one. Like I said, I've got this Batgirl one, which like I bought the game and the box separate, because like the box, I found the box randomly on eBay, and buying them two separately was cheaper than buying it bundled. But we got that. We got like the Batman one. I'm pretty sure there's a Robin one and a Nightwing one. But yeah, the GameCube one came with the lithograph, and then the other ones came with the figures. Yeah, so here's the Nightwing one, all unpacked, if it'll let the clicky work. Was it just PS2 that had the action figures? And then I've seen like these promotional images of the Robin one, but I don't think I've seen like one with Robin actually outside of it. So that's kind of weird to me. I guess the Robin and the Nightwing one both had like images on the back of the boxes, rather than like how with Batgirl there's no image there, you just see the figure. But yeah, I think like had they done Sin Tzu as like a Batman animated movie, in the same vein as like Phantasm, that like the character would have ended up having more long-term appeal, right? Because Phantasm has shown up a handful of times since then, mostly in DCAU tie-in stuff, or like Justice League Unlimited. But like Phantasm's also finally getting the mainstream treatment with the Batman Catwoman arc. To be honest, I think a lot of people just dismiss Sin Tzu as a Ra's al Ghul knockoff, though after seeing him in this, there are enough differences to make him worth keeping around. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I mean, I think some people maybe see like Vandal and Ra's as like too similar as well, but like, fuck it, dude. There's just gonna be warlords sometime. But yeah, anyway, like I said, we ended the chapter. We got one chapter left. I might I might next time bring like a couple books to have like on stream to like help make decisions for what the next book should be. But I think ultimately it'll be up to a poll on Twitter. That way we just get as many people in here as we can. But yada yada yada. I am very hungry. I have not eaten anything today yet, so I'm gonna go make myself a grilled cheese, some tomato soup, and eat myself some lunch. It's nice hanging out with you all as always. Fuck it, dude. Sometimes you need a warlord needs to be on a t-shirt. I'm down. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, go eat. It's nice hanging out with y'all as always. I'll be in the Discord, on the Twitter, all that kind of stuff throughout the day. So y'all take it easy, and I'm gonna go eat, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.